there was this poem, this Kipling poem, called The Explorer. And there are a couple lines in there where he says, there's something behind the ranges, go and find it. And so we really liked that concept, and we really thought that kind of spoke to why people are here, why people trek up here. And so we just played with that for a while, and we came to Outer Range, and we loved it. I think we went probably through about 100 names before we settled on that one.
I honestly wasn't really into craft beer before I met Lee. And this is kind of before homebrewing really took off. One of my friends said, hey, there's this guy in Manitou Springs brewing beer tonight, you want to learn? And Manitou's really an eclectic town, so I was like, I got to see this. And it was Lee. And so our first time we ever met, we actually homebrewed together. We actually got engaged 4 months later.
We focused on Belgians and IPAs because I went to high school in Belgium. So I was 16 years old drinking like Chimay Blue in downtown Brussels. And that's really where I fell in love with beer. And then we happened to live in the Northeast right along this time where all these Northeast or New England IPAs really started taking off. And that made me really fall in love with the IPA style. We're putting such a massive amount of hops into the beer, even though they're not very bitter, that you really get these like exponential effects of like what those hop flavors are. So the differences between the hop combinations just magnified. And our whole philosophy going in was that we were going to spend the most money on ingredients we could, buy the best malt, buy the best hops, and it would pay off eventually. Especially in Colorado, the beer drinkers in Colorado are really sophisticated. They can taste a beer and understand immediately if corners have been cut in the production of that beer. And we didn't ever want to give anybody that experience with our beer.
What we love about Frisco is it's surrounded by 6 epic ski resorts, some of the most famous ski resorts in the world, but it's still a small town, and we have such access to this mountain lifestyle. And when we talked about the brewery, the beer is the product, and we're proud of that product. We want to make the best product we can. But when I think about craft beer, what I think about is like spending a day on the mountain and then talking to friends and reliving that day over a craft beer. And that's what we try to recreate here. So we do a lot of community events. We try to do like outdoor film series, live music on the patio. We're trying to create an environment where people can connect in this epic setting, with 360 views of these mountains, and really use that kind of craft beer as a way to sit around and gather and relive their day. And that brings me, from my perspective, because I do a lot of the events, that brings me the most joy.
I mean, the best thing about craft beer is, talking to your friends about the beers you're sharing, and the best thing for me is, sitting around with people who love beer, trying new beers, and getting inspired by the flavors that are there. I mean, life is short, and I think that, that's kind of what the craft community speaks to. Is like every beer you have should be amazing. Every environment you go to drink that beer should be amazing. And so I think the two are, definitely woven together and inseparable.